Well,
Remember? Oh, that's right. We were talking about the keyboard.
We were talking about hitting all the letters on the keyboard, but the thing keeps
The
it's like
quick
seared
brown
in my
fox.
mind. No, you're over an hour or 2 hour or 3 hour wait for the rental car.
Right. It was awful.
So like you get off the plane, you go to the rental car place. I mean, was the line like out the door and down the street?
Well, no, here's what's funny is that upstairs, I couldn't find what I was looking for. So I went downstairs and they said, oh, well, you can just check in here. So I stood in line down there for about 45 minutes and I get up to the thing and he's like, I can't help you. So then I tramped all my stuff, and I've been on the road for 2 weeks. So I've tramped all my stuff. And, you know, it's not even that I can just be on the road. I have to be on the road with fancy shoes and fancy this. And then what if we go out and play? And then what if I'm at the pool where I run into you?
Yep.
Right? What if I'm all these places? And so you have all this luggage, and I mean, it's just, so I'm trampsing it up there, and I only to see the line, and we look like a bunch of cows. There was like 3 rows, and I was in that line for, I think, an hour and 15 minutes. So I landed at 11:30, and I think I got my car around 2:30.
Whoa.
And I didn't mess around. Like, I know what I'm doing, and, you know, I get my luggage, boom, 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 get out of my way, you know. And, yeah.
Well, that's perfect.
It's
you know?
just...
So I'm
This is
out
how my day's going.
here in Utah filming, and all of a sudden, my friend Jen walks in the door, had no idea she was coming to film
Yeah.
at the exact same place. We're in Salt Lake City. There's a lot of places you can be here,
Yeah.
but this is just the way that things sometimes work out. And I figured what we'd do is we'd talk a little bit about the journey to the top. You
Yeah.
know, everybody wants to focus on when you make it or when people perceive that you make it,
Yeah.
and you're in the spotlight and you're all over social media. But what a lot of people fail to realize is that difficult journey. And that journey doesn't just end because you've made it or made it to your certain level.
Right.
Because, hey, you just sat 2.5 hours in the rental car line. Now, happy to say I waited about
Well, what time you
minute?
get in, right?
And then
Well,
about
I'm
another
changing
minute.
the way I do it now. I mean, I think I'm done with just normal rental car companies, and now I'm going into the, you know, the Airbnb of cars. It's just easier. It's just easier.
All it takes is one bad thing. I had a situation not long ago, actually flying to Secret Knock. On the way there, we had a 14-hour delay. And then, you know, that's one, you know, it was on American Airlines. And then on the way...
Un-American.
Oh, yeah, we'll get into that. And on the way back, again, delayed. And then we land. We had like 15 minutes to make it to our gate. I'm like, I can run. I can make this. I'm not staying here overnight. And the plane parks on the tarmac. Our gate's not ready. And they sit there. And it finally pulls in. I had like 2 minutes. I didn't even grab my suits. I forgot all my suits in the luggage. I ran through the airport, full speed ahead. Good thing I'm in good shape. I get to the gate on time, you know, because there's usually that. The doors are shut. Nobody's there. Oh man, I threw a temper. And
Did they let you in?
No, of course not.
No.
You know,
of
the
course not.
only time American Airlines ever takes off on time was that time. Because every other time, that plane still would have been sitting there. Everybody would have been sitting, waiting. No,
Yeah.
we're delayed. No, no.
Well,
You got plenty of time.
This is why, I mean, you know, I'm getting to the point now where I just can't stand them. But this one of the things I love about Southwest is because you get off and they go, Jen, they're waiting for you. They're holding the plane for you.
Oh, American would never hold the
Yeah,
plane.
they
Matter
hold
of fact,
planes.
they probably
It's
intentionally
so
left
cool.
early, like that Chris guy's coming. We're staying off the tarmac.
Right. Right.
So I haven't flown American,
Yeah.
and I never will. I took all my points. I've been using them just to have
Yeah.
other people fly.
Yeah.
But that's just the things you realize. I mean,
Yeah.
the struggles don't go away just because you reach a certain level. Struggles are always there. They're just different struggles.
Yeah.
You know? So I vowed. I said after that, I'm going to fly private as much as I can.
Yeah. I do too. Now.
Yeah. It's just like
Yeah.
you get to a
Yeah.
certain point where you're just so
Yeah.
sick of dealing with it.
Yeah.
But you know, like
Yeah.
I
Time's
remember.
money.
I remember going back to the point where, like, it's in life's kind of funny. You know, you sit as far back in the plane because it's the cheapest ticket. You remember those days?
Yes, those days.
And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you finally get a glimpse. Maybe you get upgraded to first class
Yeah,
one time.
yeah.
And once you feel it, you're like, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
So then you kind of
Yeah.
you train your mind to say, you know what, I'm going to try to sit up here every
Yeah,
time.
every time.
And then when you're
Yeah.
sitting up there every time, the only reason you'd ever go back is if you couldn't get a first class
Right,
flight. It's
right.
like you upgrade your life to that level, and then the next upgrade and the next upgrade, and that's just how it is. I mean, every
Yeah.
little upgrade costs you a little more, but cost is only an issue in the absence of value. I don't know, really.
Right, and that's why I said time is money. I mean, I've flown first class for a long time. Now because we move around so much, I have to look at everybody. It's not about the money, it's about who can get me where I need to go faster. right? Just knowing what I have and who's not going to have a layover, or, and knowing that I have to sit at the very front of the plane if it's going to be a layover and I have a quick thing and I want to get out fast. And I mean, it's just like all kinds of stuff. And, and then I started looking at private, right? And saying, okay, maybe some private. So now my favorite private airline is starting to expand towards the east, but I'm always looking, going, are you going there yet? And they're not going there yet. And dang it. Because I'll tell you, it is so cool to to walk into a tarmac, a completely different airport, right? A completely different airport. Everybody's la, la, la. There's meditation music. Everybody's happy. You're not going through the ringer with everything, and it's just comfortable. Now the only bad thing is there's a lot more turbulence because they're smaller planes, but I don't care about that anymore, except if I'm trying to do something and it's annoying me. It's not about fear anymore.
I went a different path. So because I live in Buffalo, there's never going to be any private planes going to Buffalo. I'm sorry, just that ain't nobody wanting to be in Buffalo.
Well, it's almost up there.
You think so?
Oh, I already know. When we're done, I'll show you.
I went a different path. Back in the day, when I was younger, I never had money, and I always loved wakeboarding and wake surfing, but I could never get a boat. And I vowed I'm never going to own a boat. All I'm going to do is make friends with people that have boats that need gas money. So I took that same model to planes. I said, who's got a plane that needs gas money?
Oh.
And I just found 2 people that had private planes that, hey, when those things are sitting, the pilot's still getting paid. Yeah. So I said, hey, how about we work something out?
Like that. Yeah.
So I found friends that have planes that need gas money.
Oh, that's cool. I think I have some old clients that have private planes. I have to give them a call and see,
It's probably cheaper than maybe even doing the way you're doing.
Well, it's really funny. Like a one-way or a round trip is $459 from Phoenix to, San Diego to LA. To Las Vegas. And that's expensive right now because of gas prices.
That's
and
on the private?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's cheaper than flying any other airline.
Yeah, that's why you got to talk to me.
Oh, geez.
I'm telling you.
All right, I'm doing this all wrong. It's like a couple grand to fly on,
This is
my
why
friends'
we need to
planes.
have conversations about this, because you never know what everybody's doing. We're all trying to find little secrets and little gadgets that we have in the plane, and the type of bag we have, and the type of neck thing that we have, all of those things. We're trying to make life easier on the road, but it's just life on the road. And a colleague of ours 2 nights ago called me and said, hey, can I stay in your room? And I said, no, you can't, because it's a guy. I was like, no, I can't. I'm sorry. But he said, I got back from an event. We got back from an event, and they had packed up his entire room. They had him not staying that extra day.
Oh, wow.
And so he's like, my key doesn't work, goes down. And they packed up his entire room, and he was just homeless, hotel-less.
That sucks.
Yeah. And so I know that's another story he's going to have. So he ended up renting a car and driving up to LA.
I know another thing that, I heard you mention is when you travel, I know you're speaking on a lot of stages, and I know the feeling when you get off, you get hoarded, but did I hear this right? You got security guards now?
Yeah.
You go, girl.
Yeah.
You got security guards?
Certain places, certain stages, certain towns. Yeah.
Well, I go places. I hire people just to hang out with me. I guess I'm doing something totally wrong.
Right. Yeah, I just think in today's world, we can be very bipolar in some of the things that we say, because we're telling people the truth, right? We're saying this is why you aren't where you're at. That's what we're here to do, is help people. And you're talking about money, right? I'm talking about lifestyle and time. And, so you can say some things that people are they get a little angst about. So I don't want someone coming up and saying something to me. And as a woman, now, if I could carry my weapon, it would be good, because I'm a concealed weapon carrier. That would take too much time. That would take too much time to check into the airport too. So I can't do that.
Yeah.
So
sacrifices we make.
I know.
But speaking of sacrifices, the other thing too, that a lot of people don't see, they see the stage and all the stuff that we post on social media, but they don't understand that we're not with our family. I have a 2-year-old at home that I love being around. You know, being on the road, you're doing things, you're solving people's problems, you're making an impact, but you're giving something up. It's always a give-take, and that's the hardest thing. As you climb this ladder of success, there's a lot of things that we have to give up, and some people just aren't willing to give these things up. So at a certain point, you got to realize, or everybody watching this and trying to think of this path, like, this isn't all glitz and glam. There's a lot of things that we go through, that we give up to be able to do this. And it's a sacrifice.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, I mean, my kids are grown. They're all adults, and I have 3 grandkids. But my husband had a traumatic brain injury last year, and that has been the toughest thing for me in the last year, is leaving him home, and because he can't travel with me because it's a nightmare. It takes him 20 minutes to poke at the kiosks, and I just have to walk away, and everything's exasperated. So I have to leave him home a lot. But, even today, he said to me, you're at the airport, so you're coming home. I said, no, I'm not coming home yet. I've got another couple days. So that sacrifice, I feel like I haven't been there for him this last year the way I should have. Yet at the same time, I feel like all I do is caretake when I go home. And so being on the road is kind of nice and refreshing, but then I'm caretaking for everybody that I'm speaking to and trying to help solve their problems. And so I sometimes feel like, where's time for me?
Right.
And so I always make sure when I go home, I'm a competitive ballroom, Latin, and swing dancer. So when I get home, I make sure that I have all kinds of studio time, in advance, planned ahead. Otherwise, it's never going to happen. I think that's one thing that people just need to understand, is that I don't believe in balance. I don't believe in balance, because that makes us all chaotic, right? We're like a little here, a little there, and I'm sitting in the middle. And I think that's where I've felt recently, until I said, okay, that's enough. I'm going back to the studio, and I'm going to bookend my days so that when I'm traveling, so that I can have time for me. Like, everybody goes home, the event's over, and I get to go lay at the pool. Right? Or I get to go hiking in Park City, Utah, and I've done that. I've done all that. And I take that extra day. Yesterday, I spent the afternoon in San Diego, in Coronado Island, and
nice.
Walked on the beach, had a couple cocktails, just relaxed all day long, because I said I need that in between what I'm about ready to do.
See, that's one thing I don't think I'm doing a very good job. I mean, when I go out west, I try to get in the water and surf. I mean, that's like a mandatory. I don't care if it's a couple hours in the morning. I don't care if I got to get up before the sun's even up to make it happen. But when I travel, it's always like I want to be on the road as little time as possible, because I want to be back home with Vivian.
Yeah, but you have to sharpen your axe before you get back home.
Yeah, well, I'm not doing that. So when I get back home, the battery's already drained. It's usually a red eye flying home. And then I just go right back into it. And, there's just no extra time. Everything in my life is just condensing time now. So, my goal is to work toward more freedom, but it's hard. Like you said, you don't believe in balance. There is no balance. I mean, the book, The One Thing, talked about that. It's a counterbalance. We're always going to swing the pendulum one side more than the other. And I think it's just, the important thing is realizing when that one side's gone too far, so you can get it back over to the other side. That's just life.
Well, and I think it's also about being present. There's so many times, and I think this is definitely a challenge, speaking about getting off the stage and stuff. So someone will come up and talk, and I see people in my peripheral, and so I'm talking to someone, and I'm going, just hold on a minute, I'll be and I'm talking to someone, but I'm holding on to this person because I'm afraid they're going to walk away, and not because I'm afraid I'm going to lose something, but I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to give them what they need.
I've seen you do that.
Yeah, and so that's not being present. This is being present. And just, they're either going to wait or they're not. And that, I just want to help people so badly that's really a hard thing. That's what balance is. And you're just half there and half there. That's the problem with it.
I don't know. I wouldn't say I have that figured out either. I mean, it's something you're always working on, because when you're out and you get down off that stage or whatever you're doing, it's just, you just go into defense mode sometimes.
And I was going to tell you, the other thing that I do now is, when I have an event that I'm going to, I try to find another event that I can kill 2 birds with one stone. Another opportunity, like a B&I meeting or a chamber meeting, or look up something in Eventbrite and say, hey, is there something that I could go there and ask them, hey, are you still looking for a sponsor? Because the thing is, when it's these little events, it's $50. And I go, hey, are you looking for a sponsor? Because I'd like to sponsor. I just would like to have 5 or 10 minutes to talk. And it's just constant client acquisition and exposure. And I figure I'm there, right? The event's not happening, especially if my flight gets in early. And, I'll just swing over there and do things.
That's really smart. Now, have you always kind of gone to those meetings? I mean, how did you develop that skill?
No, I did, because I always thought, okay, I'm there. Why don't I do more while I'm there, instead of the idle time? I'm working. I'm not with my family. So what can I, you know what it is? As a woman, when I have idle time, I'll go shopping.
Oh, jeez.
So I'd rather go make money than spend money.
Yeah.
Right? So I figure, okay, that's what I'll do. I'll go find a way to make money instead of me spending it.
I don't have that problem. I hate shopping.
Well,
my wife takes me shopping home.
Yeah.
She's like, you are the worst person to bring shopping. I'm like, it's intentional. I don't want to go shopping.
Yeah. Well, it's not that I necessarily do. It's just out of boredom. I don't want to sit in my room.
Yeah,
so why don't I go find an event that needs somebody to pay you $150?
It's really smart. Really smart.
You know?
So Jen, like on this journey to the top, like what is one key takeaway that you could give to the audience if they're thinking about trying to follow this path?
Yeah, I think, for me, and I think one of the things to really understand is that if you truly know what is aligned with you and what your core values are, and you truly want to get where you're going, then the perseverance will be there, right? And don't give up. It's just don't give up. I mean, this is your purpose. Without that clarity, without that purpose, that's when people give up. And so for me, it's just I want to help people so badly. And, sometimes we do fall into that trap as, mentors to other people, is that we can't see our own ears, right? And we need our mentor to tell us something. And, my mentor will say, don't you coach and train and mentor on this? Yeah, I do. But sometimes I need to hear it, as well. So when you have clarity of your purpose, it's so much easier to keep going, just keep swimming, it's just really much easier to do that. And so I would say is get real clear on what you want so that you won't give up, and it won't feel like work.
Yeah. And I'll just second on that. I think one of the biggest things, if any of you are thinking about taking this path, is understand what you've got to give up. And also understand that when you do this, if you do this because of self-need or goals you're trying to solve for yourself, you're not going to make it. You got to focus on solving other people's problems, because what we do, although it looks like, we're doing it because we want to do all these things like fly private, we're doing it because we want to solve your problems. And that's what keeps us going. If you do it backwards and you're trying to solve your problem by doing this, you'll never make it this far. So I think that's a great takeaway. And I picked up some things from you about getting clear about when I go somewhere, carve that extra time out so I can recharge my batteries, because I haven't been doing that.
Before you go back home. Yeah. Yeah, because they're excited to see you, right? And I can imagine he's going, Daddy, Daddy.
Second I walk in the door.
Right, and you're like, hey, it's really good, but I have to return all these messages. It's really great. Yeah, I just think that's a really good strategy.
I like it. I like it.
So
folks, I hope you enjoyed this. It was kind of cool to have Jen out here, or have me out here, whichever way you're looking at it, and for us to kind of just talk to you a little bit about what that journey looks like to the top. But the best part is that journey for us is just getting started. See, we'll never reach any destination, because once you reach a destination, the only way to go is back down. It's called the arrival syndrome. So don't ever arrive. Just keep climbing, keep doing more, and keep loving every bit of it. See you next time. So folks, if you like this, make sure you check this video out, The 6 Laws of Wealth. When you're trying to build wealth, it's not about speculation, it's not about opinions, it's about laws. Check it out. See you on the next episode.